Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Oliver Twist, who was a very poor orphan, was going around, and eventually he was in a graveyard, and this criminal comes up to him and he's like, "Oi, Oliver, get it together." And Oliver's like, "Alright, I'll sort it out." And he's like, "Good, because you'll end up like me if you don't sort out your act."
You'll be visited by 3 old women.
Yeah.
One of them very old and happy. One of them will be
Haggard.
and weary and scary with spindly fingers.
Withering away.
Withering. Oh, withering. And one of them will be kind of normal but very quiet. And then you will learn the error of your ways. But firstly, you must go to school and learn how to do maths and over 3, maybe 4 science. So he goes to meet this old woman.
And she says, "Oliver, welcome to my house. I don't do a lot of cleaning because I'm old and I don't have anyone in my life anymore, and it's really sad." And Oliver says, "Oh, I don't want to end up like you either." And she gets angry.
She's furious.
And she burns her own house down because she's so mad with Oliver for pointing out that her life is quite miserable.
So it's dusty, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
awfully dusty.
Awfully dusty. And the room sets ablaze like nothing you could imagine.
Mothballs jumping off the walls. Ashes, cinders. Nothing is left.
Flames dancing, reminding her of the past love she never had.
Yeah. Anyway, so Oliver gets out of there and he eventually moves to the city where he meets... It's the first of 2 cities he goes to. And he meets this old man and he's like, "Oliver, you're too young to work. Let me give you a job stealing things." And Oliver's like, "Alright."
He's twisting. That's how he gets his nickname, Oliver Twist.
Wriggling and twisting around. Twisting his gnarled orphan fingers into
Locks.
and the pockets of passers-by. So he steals a lot of things for this old man. What was his name was like Hamlet.
The old man, Hamlet. Hamlet, the old man, pays for part of his education with the stolen items from safety deposit boxes and anything else he can pick with his fingers.
But eventually, one day, he's picking the lock of a very rich man's house, and it turns out the rich man was the criminal from the beginning of the story. And the criminal's like, "Hey, the prophecy has been foretold. You have become like me, you ragamuffin." And Oliver's like, "Oh, it's you. Wow, how did you get so rich?" And the criminal's like, "I got out of jail and I got rich quick." Anyway.
Selling schemes.
Yeah. So he gives Oliver an ultimatum to either join up to his pyramid scheme, or he'll tell the police. So Oliver does sign up to his pyramid scheme, and he's just financially crippled for the rest of his days. And
he tries, but there's not a lot of business for pyramids in London in the...
What with all that smog?
With all the smog, yeah. There's not a lot of... People pay extortionate prices for housing, and they have very little room to store pyramids.
Yeah, so... they built up in those days, and pyramids kind of just got skinnier at the top.
Yeah.
And while they were rather structurally sound, they didn't house a lot of people. They could only really house a couple of mummies.
It's not an economical shape, is it, the pyramid?
Yeah.
So they didn't want them in London.
Anyway, Oliver is miserable like the old woman, and the cycle repeats. the end.